Rainfall as we go throughout the overnight hours tonight and into your Monday morning. We start to trend drier heading into Tuesday, but then rain comes back Tuesday overnight going into Wednesday, expecting all day rain. But looks like we start to trend drier for Halloween, and temperatures take a dip back into the mid-50s.
Now, you weren't kidding about the rain. I mean, it's pouring overhead right now.
Yes.
So hang in there. Thanks for watching WAAY 31 News at 10. Stick around. WAAY 31 Law Call is next.
This is WAAY 31 Law Call.
Good evening and welcome to WAAY 31 Law Call. I'm Sharon Doviat. Tonight it's Ask Us Anything night, so call in your questions on any legal topic from car accidents, medical malpractice, questions about custody or child support. The 31 Law Call number 256-536-0077. You can call in and be live on the air with us tonight, or you can text into that same number 256-536-0077. We've got some of your texts that we'll be pulling up. We'll have them live on the air as well. You can also email a question any day of the week on any legal topic. You send it to lawcall@waaytv.com. And when we get to a show that's on point, we pull some out. We've got some of your email questions ready for tonight. Will League is here from Timberlake League and Brooks. Good to have you here tonight.
All right, Sharon, we're up. It's cold outside. Everybody's got soups and fall, and hopefully you're snuggled up in your bed. Hopefully not asleep yet, but maybe go to sleep if you need to.
Yep.
We're going to answer your questions live tonight. We're monitoring the text, so 536-0077 to call us. Be brave, give us a shout, and text us at the same number. We'll try and get your stuff, Sharon. So up here on a rainy, wet Sunday night.
If you hear the roar, that's what it is. It's
That's
just
right.
pouring down outside.
That's right.
Let's get started while we lock in some phone calls with tonight's You Make the Law Call clip. So take a look at this. This is video of somebody on a motorcycle. We don't often get video on a motorcycle. It makes you wonder, was he anticipating a problem? So cruising crowded streets, it's always dangerous. It seems like he's being very cautious. It doesn't seem like he's going too fast or anything. But when you're on a motorcycle, or maybe it's going to be.
Here's where he gets off. He's on the bike path, and there you are.
There's the problem.
You know, he did have video, so he captured it. Now, in Alabama, under Alabama law, he's violating the law by being in the bicycle lane.
Okay.
Now, the car has to yield to bicycle traffic, I believe, based on that. So under Alabama law, if you're in a lane you're not supposed to be in, what's called contributory negligence. Under Alabama, you have to show that the other side is at fault 100%. And in this case, the guy goes in a lane he's not supposed to be in, so therefore causes some of this. Did he have the right of way? If he was on a bicycle, yes. But again, under Alabama law, contributory negligence states that you must prove liability 100% on the other party, and you cannot contribute to your own injury. Now, that's different in Tennessee and comparative negligence states. Let's say in this particular case, the jury found that the motorcycle rider was 30% at fault, had $100,000 of medical bills. He would get 70%, and the defendant driver would get a discount, or the defendant's driver's insurance company would get a discount based on the level of fault or culpability found with the motorcycle driver if there was a claim made. And, you know,
that sounds more reasonable than Alabama's law. Do you find that juries in Alabama, when you try the case, do they stick to our law and really just give a person nothing if they were just the tiniest bit, or do they try and work it out?
That's a good question. You know, the jurors want to follow the law. They listen to the judge, they listen to the jury instructions, and the jury charge is pretty harsh. And basically it says if you contribute any percent or any level to your own injury, you cannot recover. And oftentimes the jury wants that read back to them, and you kind of get an idea that, okay, they're going for contributory negligence, because the defense attorneys, you know, their job is to say, hey, there was at least a little bit of fault with this other driver, and it's pretty punitive. And it's jurors want to do the right thing.
Yeah.
They listen, they try. Now, I will say, in all candor, they're a little more cynical, or a lot more cynical than they used to be, a little more conspiracy theory-ish.
Okay.
Let's say if that's even a word.
Yeah.
You know, so we're seeing that, but they try and do the right thing. They try and do what they can to honor the facts and apply the facts to the law, which is their job to do. And it's up to our legislature to make a change in contributory negligence. Honestly, fat chance, but something we can ask, you know, because it is more fair to the citizens. And people don't really care about that until it's you in that plaintiff's position.
Yeah.
And there's that.
We've got callers waiting. We've got Pete on the line with a question from Gurley. Hi, Pete. Thanks for staying up with us live tonight. What's your question?
Yes, ma'am. I have a quick claim deed and stuff. and I've been trying to get a real deed for several years now. My wife's done passed away,
Okay.
but it's been notarized, and her son has, her daughter, the baby girl, has gave me a quick claim deed and stuff. And I just need to know what lawyer I need to see or whatever to have it transferred over to my name.
Okay, so y'all had this I interrupted you. Y'all have some property together, you and your wife passed away, but sounds like it wasn't right of survivorship, because if it were right of survivorship, it would be a done deal, right?
Before she passed away.
Okay.
And who else had an interest in this property? You said her son or daughter?
Her daughter. Well, her daughter gave me the quick claim deed. I just got it in the mail the other day.
Okay.
Now, it'd be safer to go to a real estate or probate attorney and go file that deed. Then you should get a corrected deed. But just to be safe, I would sit down and speak with a real estate attorney to make sure it's done properly. You don't want to file something improper that's going to cost you a lot of time and money, so you want to make sure it's done right. So I would sit down with a real estate attorney and just make sure it's filed properly, and then you will get that deed as long as the I's are dotted and T's are crossed, and everybody who has an interest has written off or waived their interest in that property, providing that quitclaim deed.
Good luck with it, Pete. We got in a text message. Okay. Somebody's wondering about how to go about finding for a wrongful death case. Mom had a biopsy a year ago, and they told us if she were to have a bleed, they would patch it after the surgery. She did well, but also had swelling, and they did nothing to help with that, and she's passed away.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
personal injury cases.
Medical malpractice case is difficult. So wrongful death case in Alabama is basically all you're entitled to punitive damages, which is to punish the wrongdoer. And again, big surprise, it's an antiquated law. Other states have different laws. Let's say someone accidentally killed you. Well, the law is to punish and prevent that type of conduct in the future. So arguably, your life is not worth as much if someone accidentally killed you versus they intentionally killed you. Okay. Under the Medical Liability Act, you must show that there's a breach of the applicable standard of care, and that breach was a proximate cause of the death. All right? And so they did a brain biopsy, found some positive results, treated it. In any treatment, you're going to have a risk-benefit analysis to determine whether or not that treatment is, the risk of that treatment, is it worth it, and can it cure that particular issue or alleviate the symptoms. In this case, the patient passed away. That in and of itself, that's obviously a poor result, but that in and of itself does not mean that there was malpractice. If there was an unintended result, such as a complication from medications, again, that balance of benefit analysis comes into play. If the standard of care does not endorse the type of treatment that the doctor, in this case, provided, and when I say endorse, it fell below the breach of standard of care, or fell below the applicable standard of care, a similarly situated doctor must testify that there was a breach of standard of care and that was a proximate cause. So if those two things match up, there is a case. But again, just because based on what I'm seeing here, there was swelling, and I understand you said they did nothing to help her, you'd have to look at the medical records to see what disciplines were employed, what medications, and was that within the standard of care. Anytime we're looking at death malpractice case and malpractice case in general, they're difficult cases to win. They're difficult standard. And people are suffering, and they want answers when their loved one perishes.
We're so sorry for your loss.
We are. And I would go talk to a subsequent treating physician, go and sit down with a doctor, get a better understanding. But at some point, you need to get the medical records and sit down with an attorney who practices medical malpractice, have those records reviewed. Sometimes it costs, sometimes it's free. Oftentimes we evaluate those cases for free.
Okay.
But we do ask the patients to get the medical records. And
Can they get the medical records themselves? You got all the HIPAA issues, and do they have to have a lawsuit filed before they could even get the records?
Great question, because you filed it, you're spending good money and time after not even knowing if it's a case. And we don't want to put the doctors and the hospital and all that through that if it's not a breach of standard of care. No one wants to waste everyone's time. So the personal representative of the estate in a death situation, the PR can get those medical records, but a lot of times that will has to be submitted to probate. Letters of testimony are issued. Once you get those letters, then that gives you the authority to then get the medical records from the doctor or the hospital. We evaluate those. Sometimes we send them to experts, And that's the process, and it's a long one, but no one's perfect, and we don't want doctors to practice medicine with a gun to their head. At the same time, again, 99.9% of the doctors are great, doing what they're supposed to do, but you do see, we've seen some horrible results, and some doctor delivering baby drunk or going in. It's rare, but you see cases like that, or and they're human, but they're oversights that keep the doctors and the nurses and things that accordance with the standards.
Yeah.
And the laws are there to protect them, but also hold them accountable if there's a breach of standard of care.
Okay, we're going to take a break. We've got an email question coming up about motorcycle wrecks. Call in 536-0077. We'll be right back answering more of your questions tonight.
Your calls live. Presented by the Tennessee Valley's award-winning personal injury and wrongful death law firm, Timberlake, League & Brooks. Featuring the knowledge and experience of Attorney Michael Timberlake, Attorney Will League, Attorney Heath Brooks, Attorney William Meservey. And hosted by broadcaster and family law attorney Sharon Doviet. This is WAAY 31 Law Call.
Welcome back to Law Call. It's Ask Us Anything night, but we always like to show off when Timberlake, League, and Brooks get involved with things in the community. And this is a side you may not have seen before.
Oh, yeah.
Will, what'd you do this weekend?
Well, so that's my oldest daughter, and
Had y'all been in a race this weekend?
So we did the Huntsville Hospital Liz Hurley
Cute.
Ribbon Run for
Good.
breast cancer awareness.
That's great. Tell me about that shirt. That's very pink.
That's the only pink shirt that I had, and I had it for a wedding I was in years ago. So we busted
Making
out,
good use.
and that's my sweet daughter Bentley, and she drugged me around the course, and glad we're on this side of it. It got me. But you do anything with your kids,
That's
right?
great. How old is Bentley now?
She is 25. 25 years old. So here we go.
Lovely.
Here we go.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Glad it's over.
We've got Jim on the line with a question from Portland. Hi, Jim. Thanks for calling. I haven't heard of Portland. Welcome. Thanks for joining us. What's your question tonight?
I had a wreck on Interstate 65. I was going south through Montgomery.
Okay.
At 12 o'clock at night.
What time?
12 o'clock at night?
12
Okay.
at night. And right there before you get to the intersection of 85, well, it's a dark street there. There's a bunch of overpasses. And I was in not the far left lane, but the lane next to it.
Okay.
And the guy was sitting there, stopped,
Ooh.
with no lights on, no flashers or nothing.
Oh, no.
And I whooped to the left, you know, to that other lane to miss him, but I clipped him. His back end, and I hit that wall and totaled my truck, and I had to go to the hospital.
We're lucky you're with us.
Did the officers come out and do a police report and put fault on him and note there was no lights and he's in the lane and all the stuff you talked about?
Yes, sir. I got the police report, and it told on the police report. It was on the police report, and it told on there that, you know, it was his fault.
Okay.
And,
So, Jim,
his insurance company is denying it.
okay.
Yours, which insurance company is denying it?
His insurance company is
Okay.
denying that he had insurance with him, and the officer run his tag, and there was insurance on the vehicle.
Okay.
Okay, so they're denying that they have insurance with him, or are they denying that it's all his fault?
They denying that he didn't have insurance with him.
Got it. Okay. All right. So normally they deny it because they're trying to get a foothold in what we talked about earlier, contributory negligence under Alabama, saying, okay, even though our guy was in the middle of the road without lights, you should have seen him. And would a reasonable person have seen that driver or that vehicle? And if the answer is yes, then you cannot recover under Alabama contributory negligent law. Now, if he does not have coverage, now, you know, I'm on your team.
You're supposed to have coverage.
Right. I feel like it should have been it's the other person's fault. They were in the car. I mean, in the vehicle, no lights, stopped. You know, that should be open and shut.
Yeah.
But sometimes they're not. But assuming that it is, you can find liability in the other driver. There is no coverage. Let's assume there's no coverage. You can go to your own carrier, what's called underinsured motorist carrier, to pay for your medical bills, pain and suffering, things like that only for your personal injuries. Your underinsured motorist will not cover your property damage. Maybe you have collision or liability, you know, other types of coverage that would cover your property damage, but underinsured motorist only covers for your injuries. Let's say you were to file a lawsuit against this guy. Does he have insurance? A, the answer is no. Is he independently wealthy? Sometimes they are, sometimes they're not. But that is a difficult case to go and get that money from an individual, When we file these cases, Sharon, 99 times the insurance company is behind the particular driver.
Okay.
Now, as opposed to filing a lawsuit against this driver, you have insurance. You can file a claim with your own insurance, get your property damage taken care of. Under your get your medical bills and those things taken care of, and assess your compensation for pain and suffering and the injuries you sustained. And then let your insurance company go after that defendant driver to get their money back. So it's a shortcut you can do. You'll lose your deductible for a little while, but if they recover against the other driver, you get that deductible back. So a lot of people think, oh, I've got to spend all this time, money, effort going after this driver.
Yeah, I don't have time for that.
You know, if I can make a claim with my own company, then let them hire attorneys and go after it. And that's a way to kind of address your situation without killing your time and energy doing that. You'll have to cooperate with your insurance company. You'll have to go and testify if they decide to make a claim or file against this defendant driver. But it's really inconvenient, to say the absolute very least, when there is no insurance coverage on the other side. Alabama law requires it. Now, they used to go back under the Department of Motor Vehicles or Licensure Department and actually suspend the driver's license you're operating a vehicle or you own a vehicle without coverage. Remember, that is a prerequisite to operate a motor vehicle and get a registration for that vehicle. And it used to be enforced, and I don't know, I'm sure the officers are busy, but we don't see it as enforced as we did, say, a decade ago.
Yeah. Jim, we're glad you're okay, though.
Yep.
We've got Michael on the line with a question from Higdon. Hi, Michael. Thanks for watching tonight. What's your question?
I need to know about guardianship. I need to know how to get it out of my daddy and my sister's name. How do I do that?
So who are you trying to get guardianship of? Don't give me a name, but what's the relationship to you?
My daddy is my father.
Okay.
My sister is my sister. I need to know how to get guardianship taken away, from away.
They're the guardians of you, Michael?
Yes.
Okay.
I see.
And you want to extinguish that relationship and not have them have power over you, is that correct?
Yeah, I just want it away from me.
All right, Sharon, this is you're in family law. When you see this, does he have to go through an independent test? There has to be an order to establish it, right?
There must be an order in place that's gone through his probate court where someone has gotten guardianship, because he's an adult, so we're not dealing with juveniles here. He's going to need to file something with his probate court. Hopefully, Michael, you've gotten or seen copies of the things that they had filed. You're going to need to try and file something yourself, asking the court to lift that and give you back control of what's going on. The court might require you to take some sort of testing, or might appoint a lawyer to assist you with that. How long has your family member had guardianship of you?
About 3 years, and I talked to my attorney about it, and he's working on it too.
Okay. So, and is that somebody that's appointed to represent you, or is it somebody that you had to hire?
It was appointed to me.
There we go. So usually the court will appoint somebody if you're having difficulties with it, and your lawyer should be able to assist you in getting that back.
You know, and Michael, obviously listen to your attorney, cooperate with your attorney, but what you want to show is that you can adequately take care of yourself, finances, whatever issues that you have, to prove to that particular probate judge that yes, while you saw fit to award guardianship of me to these third parties at that time, this is why the change of circumstances dictates that now I should be free of that guardianship. So you may want to talk to your physician, counselor, anything you have to bolster your case. But again, don't want to quarterback your attorney from here. Listen to him or her and then go about it. But those are some of the things you're going to have to address, just like Sharon said.
Okay, we've got an email question about motorcycle wrecks. You guys do a lot of motorcycle wrecks. I was in a motorcycle wreck where someone backed out of a driveway and hit me as I was passing by. I had multiple injuries and was off work for 12 weeks. My insurance doesn't offer medical coverage for motorcycle policies, and my health insurance through work won't cover it all since they transported me to an out-of-network provider. The at-fault driver has minimum coverage, no assets, and is laid off from work, which leaves me with $14,000 in medical bills. Is there anything that can be done to hold this person responsible? And that's from Noah.
Okay, there's a lot going on.
A lot going on there.
All
Is
right.
that common for a motorcycle policy to be very different from car policies?
You know, I hadn't seen it where it says that the policy does not have medical coverage.
Medical
now,
coverage.
MedPay coverage under your automobile insurance policy. Remember, you got collision, you got liability, collision, comprehensive, underinsured motorist, and you have what's called MedPay. Now, maybe for this particular policy, it does not carry MedPay, but that usually covers $1,000 to $5,000 of your medical bills, regardless of fault. However, if they transferred him outside of network, and let's say Blue Cross Blue Shield or some other insurance company does not provide that, you know, that's not in the contract, and so he's responsible for those bills, the plaintiff, unless he can go after the other driver. Now, he or she backed out, failed to yield the right of way, seems like it's clear. But again, how fast is the motorcycle going? The jury's going to want to know that. So let's assume you can prove liability. Then you have a claim against the other driver. Hopefully he or she has insurance. If they do, you make a claim against their insurance carrier. If you cannot resolve it with the insurance company, then you file individually against that driver, and the jury does not know that there's insurance behind that particular driver. So that makes it a little more difficult. So you want to prove your damages, prove your medical bills, and then get a judgment against that defendant. Once you get a judgment, you can collect that judgment against the defendant's insurance company, and you can get dollar for dollar and have those medical bills paid under what's called compensatory damages. Medical bills paid, any type of pain and suffering for the injuries you sustain and what a jury seems or deems fit for those particular injuries, up to the limits. Now, you mentioned there are minimum limits. If there are minimum limits, Sharon, you can also make a claim against your underinsured motorist coverage, and that provides you additional coverage. It's cheap insurance to get, so you have to sign a particular waiver to waive it. Talk to your insurance agent. Don't waive that coverage. There's a lot of uninsured people out there, just like we've talked to tonight.
Yes. We're going to take a break. Be right back. Answer more of your questions in just a minute. How to get in touch with Will League. With Timberlake, League, and Brooks, they are personal injury attorneys, so everything from car accidents to medical malpractice, slip and fall cases, 256-536-0770 or 800-804-2502. The website is law-injury.com. And if you like them on Facebook, you can learn more about the law that way.
And family law attorney, our own Sharon Doviet, Huntsville, Alabama, 539-7337, SharonFamilyLaw.com, family court, child support, all the important things.
Thanks everybody for your calls and questions, and we'll see you next week. Have a safe Halloween.